Welcome back, Mr. Crawford's class. We're going to continue working with multiplication, about the hardest multiplication that I could do to make you do. But with that, just because I say it's hard does not mean it actually is. It's just being able to figure out the trick to why multiplication works together for the multi-digit multiplication instead of individual different problems. We can just smack them all together, be able to do it in one problem, and be able to do the whole thing. So today what I wanted us to work on is to really look at why we have to put zeros down after we finish multiplying with a number. What I mean by that is, if we're going to do 3,264 times 257, two big numbers, I know, but we can make this easier on ourselves because we can the reason why we want to make sure that we multiply them, bring zeros down, is because of this. You can multiply 7 times 3,264. You can get your answer. But you still have this 5 and this 2. But what is the 5 and 2? Well, this 7 is down here. We could take that 7 and do a different problem and be just fine. But we could also... But when we go to the 5, this 5 is not 5, it's actually 50. And see this 0 to multiply, this 0, we just bring a 0 down, then multiply across and get our answer. And then for 3,264, this 2 then, so if we multiply the 5 here, this 50, because this 5 is a 50, this 7 is just 7, so that's why we have 7, this 5 is 50, that's why we have to bring that 0 down, because when we multiply numbers with 0, we can just bring the 0 down or add it to the end. 3,264 times 2, but that 2 is actually 200. All right, so if we have 200 there, we got to bring down both of these zeros and then multiply with the 2 to each number. And so when we do this, we're going to get this would be 3 different problems that we would have to add together. But that would look the same as if we would do it up here. So let's go ahead and take a look at what that would be. All right, so we have 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 6 is 42, plus 2 is 44. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 4 is 18. And 7 times 3 is 21, plus 1 is 22. All right, so now we have our first line. All right, we want to take this 7 and put it down. When we're done with the 7, we want to put a 0 down because we're going to multiply it by 50, not 5, 50. So when we multiply 50 times 4, we're going to get 200. So that's why we get, or 20, because 5 times 4 is 20. We put that 0 down, we have 2 zeros, plus we have our 2. So 200. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 2 is 32. 2 down, 3 up. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 3 is 13. 3 down, 1 up. 5 times 15, 5 times 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16. Notice we had no zeros the first time. We had 1 0 this time. And now we're done with the 7 and the 5. We have to do 2 zeros before we start. And then we can do 2 times 4, 2 times 6, 2 times 2, 2 times 3. So let's go ahead and do that. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 6 is 12. 2 down, 1 up. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 2 times 3 is 6. All right. So now we have, just to check our work, 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 6 is 12, 2 down, 1 up, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. All right, so our work is good. So now, if you notice, we have one number, two numbers, three numbers. We want to add these together, all right? And then we get 0 plus 0, 8 plus 0 plus 0 is 8, 4 plus 0 plus 0 is 4, 8 plus 2 plus 8, well, 8 plus 2 is 10, plus 8 is 18. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 3 is 6, plus 2 is 8. 2 plus 6 is 8, plus 5 is 13. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 6 is 8. So our final answer is 838,848. But what I want you to pay close attention to is that when we multiplied, we want to make sure with these bigger numbers we bring our zeros down. So this is 7, so that's why we don't have a 0 to start. But then we have 5 or 50. That's why we have this 0 here. All right. Then we start multiplying. So then 5 times 4 was 20. So you brought that 0 down, 2 up, and then you kept going. Then you have, after you finish the multiplication for the second line, now we have a third number. So that third number is a 2. All right. So then we have 200. Not just 2, it's 200. That's why this number is so big. Because this is 200 times 3,264, which is 652,800. It's a big number. So that's because we started off with the 1 digit and the tens digit filled in, because then we started with the hundreds. If there was a fourth digit, say there was a fourth digit here, I'll put a question mark for that. But say there was a fourth digit. That means on this, you would have a fourth line here. Instead of adding here, you would have another line, and you'd be adding 4 lines instead of just 3. And then if you have 1 0 to start, then you have 2, you would have 3, because this number here would be in the thousands place, and you need to start your fourth line with 3 zeros so that you're starting in the thousands place. I hope this helps you understand why we would bring down zeros in our standard multiplication, because we want to make sure we're with each number. This is the ones place, tens place, hundreds place, thousands place. If you're multiplying by the ones place, no 0 to bring down. If you're multiplying the second number in the tens place, that means you need to start in the tens place. So you put a 0 first before you start, and then you start in the tens place. If you're multiplying this 2, that's the hundreds place. That's why we have the tens, ones, and tens place filled in with zeros, and then we start in the hundreds place. Hopefully this helps you understand better how to multiply multi-digit numbers with making sure you bring down the right amount of zeros. Do the best you can. Email me if you have any questions. Enjoy this wonderful Wednesday. Get done with your assignments quickly. Email me if you have questions. I will be happy to help you. And make sure to jump on at 1 o'clock for Mr. Weldy's class and 1:30 for my class. All right. Have a good day, and hopefully I'll be seeing you this afternoon.